My name is Jody, and I just retired from my super important yet super boring corporate job where I explain complex things to the C-suite executives in 5 minutes or less to get them to actually make decisions and do something. I will now take these corporate superpowers and do deep dives into current events and help to answer the obvious questions. And this is my podcast. Greetings, truth seekers. This is pretty much a part 2 from my recent episode debunking corporate DE&I. Let me introduce DE&I's little sister, misogyny. Today, the obvious question is, why is DE&I the new misogyny? I will start with this. Misogyny is alive and well in and out of corporate America. When I worked in technology, I would be in meetings and it would be assumed I would take notes because I was the only female in the room. A friend of mine who makes incredible reports and presentations had her skills mocked as arts and crafts. When I mentioned this to our coworker, I was told, oh no, it was funny. She liked it. She thought it was great. But it was all in good fun. She didn't mind. Well, the truth is, she did. But if you want to get along, sometimes you just smile and eat the shit sandwich. So here's the thing. Men speak up, and it's great leadership. Women speak up, and they're shrill. Or maybe it's their time of the month. I heard that out of one idiot's mouth one time, and I responded back to him, luckily for women, it's only 1 week of the month, but in his case, stupidity was 24/7. Everyone laughed, and he did get the hint, but the fact that he thought that was acceptable was ridiculous. How about the time when an executive I worked for, who was one of the most amazing leaders I've ever had the privilege to work with, went to our headquarters for a meeting. There was about 100 of them that came in, and some guy asked her to get him a coffee. Since she was the only black woman on the floor that wasn't an admin, he assumed she was too. If you're a woman in a place of power, and God forbid, a person of color or not married with kids, you get judged even more. Women have to work harder, smile more, and eat that shit sandwich way more and react less. So let's take this out of the boardroom and look at it in current events. Which brings me to my frustration. Just because a woman is hired does not mean it's a DE&I hire. Kim Cheadle did a craptastic job handling the aftermath of the attempted assassination of Donald Trump. But while she took and deserves blame, she was not the only one making the decisions for this absolutely horrendous situation. Pundits and media immediately went to mock her for her last position being with Pepsi, and completely ignoring the fact that she spent 20 plus years in government, including leading President Biden's protection detail when he was VP. If you listen to my DE&I episode, then you know my opinion of why he hired her. Because he knew her and he felt comfortable. Because they worked well together. And that's how it usually works. It's not the best candidate. It's the best candidate that the person hiring aligns to their own opinions. That's how it is. Better to have a known B, C student than take a chance on an unknown. In the assassination attempt, were there poorly trained agents on the ground? Yes. But that wasn't their fault. That's the fault of the layers of leadership, and sadly, a few of them were women. And we know that because there were so few out there, it was easy to pick them out. And so, of course, that makes everybody use the usual mantra of DE&I hires. We seem to ignore that many of the men also made mistakes that day. There were plenty of them, but since they make up 75% of the Secret Service population, it's easier to pick on the woman. How dare women do men's work? Interesting, I can guarantee the head of the detail was a man. I don't know that for sure, but I'm just going to guess that. A man who allowed buildings to not be covered by gunmen. Said no people needed to be on a sloped roof, a roof that a 70-year-old congressman hopped on with no issues, by the way. And he allowed Trump to go on the stage despite the fact that they knew at least 10 minutes before that they couldn't find this man and he had been upgraded to a threat. No, that's fine. He was just incompetent, but he wasn't a DE&I hire, so I guess it was fine. I think they also missed the one female who was a total badass who was carrying one of the wounded safely and was right there shielding Trump. But guess who didn't miss this? Donald Trump. Yes, the man railed as being the biggest misogynist on the planet, made a point of shutting down the rhetoric. He stood up for this agent and basically told people, including the majority of them being in his base, that they were wrong, and I'm going to quote him. She was shielding me with everything she could, and she got criticized by the fake news because she wasn't tall enough. She was so brave. She was shielding me with everything. She wanted to take that bullet. Regardless of your opinion of Trump, he did right by this agent. She did nothing wrong and was capable as any man at the same height. When you mock women and say they are DE&I hires, is your point that women aren't smart enough? What, only the big, strong men are capable of leadership? Only about a third of the Secret Service is protection, yet 75% of Secret Service is men. Are you going to tell me investigating counterfeit money can only be done by men? I call BS on that. So I'm on a roll. I might as well get this out of my system too. Let's talk about Kamala Harris and the fact that she was mocked for being childless, supposedly slept her way to the top, and I guess should have a cat or 12. And I should mention, I do have a child, but I also have a cat, Mr. P, and he's sitting right next to me while I am recording this. So there you go. Now, I'm not going to vote for her because I disagree with her policies. But why does it matter she chose not to have children? She is a stepmother, and it seems they all get along better than many families do, I might add. And the hilarity of these people complaining she slept around. Now, I have no idea if she has or not. The same was thrown at Nikki Haley, too, when she was running. Old Nikki Haley was sleeping with other men and owned by Boeing. Hang on while I clutch my pearls. Are you telling me that politicians are owned by an industry or a PAC or big donors? Oh my God, call the press. It seems to me all politicians use the rules for their benefit, and I find it hilarious when in fact the biggest hoes on the hill are men and have been since our first very fine cabinet, and my main man Alexander Hamilton couldn't say no to this. Yeah, I did figure out how to get him into this. Ha, look at me. If you don't like women's policies, fine. But the double standard only does one thing. It unites the majority of women because we have all seen it. We have all experienced it, and we all have tried to ignore it. But we all know it's there. I am incredibly tired that it's fine to take pot shots at women and don't think it is only men pointing at women. Some of the nastiest treatment I have seen in corporate America, or even just in social media, is from other women. And I see it in real life too. Speaking of social media, let's look at the two biggest crime cases right now, Karen Read and Ashley Benefield. And what are the fine folks at Court TV talking about? Their clothes. Kid you not. And it was women doing it, specifically Julie Grant, who won't even see this because she blocked me and about 10,000 others because when I pointed this out, I guess she got butthurt and blocked me. Karen Read must be guilty because she has a smirk. She wears stylish clothes and is childless. Never mind the fact that for the first time in the history of the world, the words, and I'm quoting, "I'm from the government and I'm here to help," actually were truthful. And the FBI came in with evidence proving that her car could not have caused the injuries to her boyfriend. But nope, she wears skirts. Too happy, too smirky, or too whatever. Oh, and she wore boots and heels. And oh my God, she always has perfect hair. Why is she taking time to get her hair and nails done? And it's fine that the arresting officer mocked her health conditions and the Massachusetts State Police and Canton Police Department did the worst investigation since Scooby-Doo did not get a Scooby snack for solving the case of the missing taillight. It's fine. Before he even saw her in her car, that he requested it to be towed. She's a whack job. She's the C word. She's got a leaky balloon knot. But the prosecutor told us it's just him and his friends. It didn't really matter. But I guess when he called her the R word and said that he was upset he hadn't found nudes on her phones and sent this to his entire leadership chain, who laughed at it, by the way, that was perfectly fine. No matter. Just pin it on the girl. And while you would think everybody would be horrified, nope. People on the other side were laughing at her. They were mocking her. They even made a song about it. That's disgusting. And most of them were women. Then we have Ashley Benefield, whose husband admitting to punching the family dog so hard it lost consciousness, threw the cat multiple times, including down the stairs. Sorry, Mr. P. Threw a loaded gun at her and a bullet went in the ceilings. These aren't allegations. He admitted to all of these things. Nope. She's a gold digger. She wanted a child all to herself, so she put a bullet in him. Forget the stand your ground law in Florida, which allows every Tom, Dick, and Bubba to shoot a random stranger. Nope, this tiny woman versus a trained martial artist trapped in a bedroom had the audacity to not want him to do just whatever. It's her. The cross-examination of this defendant will be shown to law students for the rest of time on how to make people feel sorry for a defendant. The prosecutor was a woman, and it was horrific, and it was disgusting, and I felt for all domestic violence victims, male and female, who will probably never go to police when they see this. She was dismissive and sarcastic. Instead of pulling information out that would poke holes, she made me feel sorry for her. That's not a good look. I'm just curious, did anyone comment on Alec Baldwin's clothing? I don't recall that. Instead, they talked about the merits of his case. And he's not exactly the most warm and fuzzy human being in the world. Just wanted to add that. So why is it that when a woman is in a high-profile case, they are just talked about their negative female qualities, like their hair and their clothes? Speaking of hair, my BFF Julie Grant even commented on the fact that Ashley Benefield changed her hairstyle mid-trial. How is that even something that needed to be talked about? How about we talk about the facts, Julie? So I hope you can take a moment and think about things without the political or opinion lens. To me, the obvious answer to my question is it's become societal muscle memory to disparage women. Why is Kamala Harris a DE&I hire when, to be fair, J.D. Vance is not exactly a household name or any more qualified? Kim Cheadle may have had one of the worst 2-year tenders at the Secret Service, but why is a 20-plus year career working in law enforcement make her a DE&I hire? Why is it that when you don't like a woman, it's not around facts, it's about their looks or how the woman maybe got there? It seems like men are never questioned like that. This is not a male versus female issue. It's a societal issue, and we all need to look in the mirror and fight with facts, not pot shots. And that's my truth.